Simningimo, the Gotham Jesha, or Yin to Rangi, and Jusum Sosakyo, to some Gyawachisa was an Amnani, Diara Simjanangi, Loicheta Chida or Chijun to Montegua, Chigi Kolo, Chisimadonga, Yangiminda Tuji, to me, yes, Simjanamna Zizus, Dagishon, Tamje Chanju, and Bromidundua, Daguro, Sashi, Pichush, Rabni Sing, the Gamba, the Sagation. Joganam Dajin, Puchu Barasho, Guru Damrana, Mandela Kamni, Simchan, Gisambala, Loichetash, Chijonte Montegwai, Chegi, Bolo, Cordos, Minchugi, Ingi Pojan, Tismsangi Kungingo, Razum Chugong, there's a Vatala Mission, a Chagi. Padinji, they want to Tamjaki, Chubenchi, when Gurvachu, Tagendona Pendecho. Padin Rugisham la Chagi, Padin Savila, Marimbush, Tagin, or Pemis and Ronan Jawame, Kosonto Gichingi, those Susangi Tam Chiking or Redaking or Gasakada. Cutting Sonda Maji, but in Zavila, Madame Bishop, give them Duchima, was one of the Kubi Chazishin Chodo Kasocho, Dadan Lomin Guching, Labanzedos. Manjunam Gadang, Besim Gentamche, Korwatungi, Yamso, the number Tam Chikim. Sonju Kadan Dojichan Chimbing, one and Govercha, the H. the Dambichu Gichin and Zamucha or Giwala. Kulanda Kunjigiran Banam, do you remember and Chishin Sumbash in the set of December show? So we came to yesterday to the point where Rechungpa came back and then met his guru Milarepa, and they both each asked each other about their travel and their stay. And then after that, Rechungpa made a vow. So Rechungpa, Repa, the why they are called Milarepa or Rechung is because Buddha Shakyamuni predicted that in the future my teachings about the emptiness, the Prajnaparamita, will spread, and especially it will spread to the Himalayan region, but some of them will be in the form of the monk, some of them will not be in the form of monks and nuns, but in the yogi tradition, who wears the white cloth. So Repa means who wears the white cloth. So Milarepa was called Rechung, the older, who wears the white cloth, yogi, and then Rechungpa was the smaller, younger one. Then only from the first Gyalwa Dokhampa, then he was the first one to take the monastic vows, and then the monastic institution started from there. And then we had both the yogis and the monastic tradition. Before that, it was mostly yogis. So, what does being a yogi mean? Yogi means that firstly you need to, in terms of precept of the vows, yogi doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. It means that you should at least keep the 5 precepts, which means don't kill, not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconduct, which means having relationship with others, husband or wife, and then lying, not killing, not stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and then alcohol. Alcohol was something that when yogi is a beginner is restricted, but when yogi reaches a certain point where even if they drink gallons of alcohol, they don't get drunk. Rather it opens up their channel, and then there's a full awareness. Even the drink helps them to open up the channel, and whatever the sensation they can recognize every sensation as a union of bliss and emptiness. So that time it was not restricted, but generally it was restricted. So that is why the yogis have to have that. And then on top of that, they have to keep the vow of the bodhisattva to work for the benefit of all sentient beings and to practice 6 paramita. On top of that, then you are receive the initiations and the vows of the Vajrayana, the meditation, visualization, yoga, etc. So that's what's called the yogi path. So the Rechungpa, so Rechungpa made a commitment to, made a vow to Milarepa that until I complete all my experiential understanding and realization understanding, I want to be inseparable and serve with you. So experiential practice means that, for example, when you do meditations and when you do practice, first you will get something called experiential practice. That means that, for example, when you're a beginner, when your teacher, guru, talks about nature of the mind being spacious and clear yet empty, undefinable, you don't really have idea. But as you do your practice, as you do accumulate merit, purification, and then remain in the nature of the mind, after some time you can experience it, you start to see it, you can experience it. But then as soon as you stop your practice, then it is like no longer there. Again the dualistic thoughts come. So at that time it is called experiential practice. It's not a realization. So when you have when you see the nature of your mind for the first time, then we shouldn't be kind of lazy about it. But if we are diligent in our practice and we continue whatever we have realized, if we can sustain the realization day after day, month after month, year after year, then there comes a time when whatever we have realized, understood, is not something that is on and off, but every time, whether you are talking, sleeping, watching movie, conversation, meditating or not meditating, that constant awareness of undefinable nature will be there. That is called realization. So many people get lost in the experience. As soon as they have certain experience in the meditation, then they feel, oh, now I have become quite great, now I don't need to practice anymore. And then if they don't practice, then the normal way of thinking, behavior, is too strong. The habits are too strong. So then they go back to. So that's why there's a saying that experiential realization is like a fog. When the sun comes, it will disappear. The real realization is like a mountain. It is unshakable. So Rechungpa made a commitment that until my realization, experiential and realization is not complete, I want to be serving you and follow you, and I request you to give me the initiation as well as the explanation, right? So initiations are called something that, for example, if there's a seed and then you put a water on it, you kind of make the seed, that is like make it more ready to bloom. Then Tol means to liberate. So to give first you give in the Vajrayana. If you want to enter the Vajrayana, the first doorway is initiation. If you want to be a Buddhist, the first doorway is to take a refuge. If you want to be the Mahayana path, you have to take the Bodhisattva vow to benefit sentient being. And in Vajrayana, the door is the initiation. So initiation will teach you that within you, your own nature, Buddha, your form is Buddha, your speech is the mantra, your mind is the Buddha nature, Tara nature, and you will be introduced to that, and then to continue that introduction, you will be giving the explanation, the teachings. So these are the Rechungpa made a commitment to receive all the initiation, explanations, and then the personal experiences. And then he vowed to stay with Milarepa and serve him. And that time his mother and uncle came to tell him to please come. So that time Milarepa wanted to scare them away, saying that, don't you know who I am? I, Milarepa, have killed more than 30 people before, with my black magic. So he said that, you better don't bother my son anymore, otherwise I will give black magic on you. So then Milarepa, then they got scared and left. And that time Rechungpa, now having completed the Ngondro practices, the Tara practices, then he received the Mahamudra practice. So Mahamudra practice is when you have, in the Drupa tradition, when you have finished the 100,000 prostration, 100,000 mandala offering, and then the Vajrasattva Guru, then the next step is to teaching is given, is called the Mahamudra. So Mahamudra has a two stage. The first stage is about First stage is about kind of developing the concentration mind, so that you are able to focus on something. And after you have developed the concentration, then the next teaching called the vipassana is about introducing you to nature of your mind. The guru will teach you about keep your mind settled like this, look at your mind like this, etc. So that is the one tradition. And together with that, the visualizations are also visualization practices, and all are usually given after the ngondro one is finished, completed the ngondro, and not before that. So the visualization practices are called indirect way to recognize the nature of your mind, and Mahamudra is considered a direct way to introduce you to nature of your mind. However, it is said that for most of us, if we are directly introduced to the nature of the mind, meditate, it's not that easy for us, because basically Mahamudra means you are chanting nor are you visualizing, you are just sitting, in the, and you are not even talking, chanting, you are just looking at the nature of your mind. So it sounds very exciting to receive it, but actually doing it is very boring, It's very boring, and is not suitable for someone who is not prepared for that, right? If we can't even sit still for a few minutes, how can we sit for hours and hours? And anyway, so that is why in our tradition we always say, that after the accumulation, after the ngondro practice, then the visualization start. And some people, just from the visualization itself, they naturally understand the nature of mind, because it is one is indirect, one is the direct way. But what is suitable, I think it's a stage by stage practice. So anyway, he received the Mahamudra, Chagye Chimbo, and then the Tummo means the breathing meditations and the yoga. So breathing meditation, to give you just the kind of short introduction, is again you have to complete the ngondro. In the Drupa tradition, in our guru, you have to complete the ngondro 4 times. Cha Bhum, Ija Bhum, 4 times. Then only you have to receive the Tummo. So Tummo basically from the yoga point of view, we say there is a 3 channel, and then the right and the left channel, are the channels from where, when the air goes, the wind goes, arises the desire and anger. When the wind goes into the central channel, then the wisdom, this is called the wisdom channel and the wisdom mind. And when it goes into that channel, then the non-dualistic wisdoms, etc., arises naturally. And these arises because while the mind is in the body posture, body exercises, and how the body and the channel and the nerve have the ability to affect the mind. So we say that the body's channels are like the road, and then the air is like the horse, and mind is like the rider. So when you control your channel, when you control your breathing and put it in the right channel, then the mind also naturally goes into the wisdom channel. So these practices, so basically all the breathing, and then in order to kind of balance out the breathing and spread the kind of evenly the air in the channel, then we do the physical yogas, etc. So anyway, he received this, and then he let go of all the Jigten Gichawa, Jigten the Kim Gichawa. Jigten Gichawa means doing something that only serves impermanent, doing something that is relying on impermanent. For example, when you are making a home, from our point of view, making a home is considered, now if you can buy a property, then that means you have a very good future. But from a spiritual point of view, no matter how much property you build, that property, can be taken away from you. There can be earthquake, there can be fire. And even if nothing happens, you have a wonderful life. At the end of the day, when you die, the house will be left behind. Nobody in the world has been, even if you are the emperor of the world, you have to leave behind all your fame, the properties and the wealth, everything behind. So working for that, relying only on that, this is called the Jigtenpa. Jigtenpa means someone who relies on something that is impermanent. So he, Rechungpa, left behind all of this work, and then he said that from now on, whether I die or whether I live, I only rely on you, my Guru, to Milarepa. He made the vow like that. And then Guru Milarepa was also very pleased and gave him many kind of profound teachings and the practice and the teaching. And then at that time, Rechungpa said, now I have to go to India once more, because when Lama Valatsenta was, due to his kindness, I could cure my leprosy. Then I made a promise that I'll come back and offer him the gold. So then Milarepa said, okay, it's okay, it's good to repay the kindness of your gurus. So then he went around for begging for a little bit, asking for donation. He got a little bit of gold. And then he also went back to his mother and his uncle and said, I'm sure you won't give me all part of the property, but at least please give me a small bit of property that is legally mine, since it came from my father. So a little bit of land he could, I think the asset he could get, he sold it. So within 2 years he was about to get, I think, quite a substantial sum of the gold. And then quickly he went to the India. At that time, that place where Lama Valatsenta stayed was called Tabasatar. He went to there and he met his Guru Lama Valatsenta, and he offered to his Guru, and he offered kind of two kind of, I don't know, sersang do, I think it means like, I don't know, quite a big proportion, 2 proportion to his Guru, 1 proportion to Guru's consort. And then he stayed there, and when he was there at that time, so one person came, offered to his Guru one kind of a sack of the salt and little bit of gold, and prostrating to him, and he was saying, Barabito, Barabito. This is a Tibetan translation of Hindi language. Is usually, the very wrong. Pronunciation is quite poor usually. For example, we were doing we do a chinsek, the fire puja. So when we were young, we used to always, there's a chinsek is a prayer where, for example, you visualize, if you're doing Guru Rinpoche chinsek, you visualize the Guru Rinpoche becomes the fire, and everything that you are burning is offering to Guru Rinpoche in the form of a burning, right? It also represents burning. Fire represents wisdom. Your burning represents giving up of your ignorance and your dualistic. So there is a tradition that chinsek is one of the very powerful puja. So you have if you want good health, you offer a medicine. So in the medicine, there's a medicine we used to always write, Om Aknai Soa, Om Okade Soa, Okade Soa. We used to shout Okade when we were a kid. Then later on, I realized not Okade, it's Aushade, because Aushade in Nepali and Indian means medicine. Since Tibetans and Himalayan don't know how to pronounce it, we are proudly saying Okade Soa, So anyway, it's not our mother tongue. So anyway, Barabito he was saying, and then Rechungpa said, what is that person saying? And then his Guru told him that one of his wife had a buffalo, and the buffalo baby had died. So he went to near the river to, kind of clean the body, clean the flesh, and then cut the flesh. And then somehow something happened, and the girl fell down unconscious and become very, I think, bloated. So then he said, he's asking, can you please come and help? Then he asked his Guru, do you think she will survive? Then she said, yes, she will. Then Rechungpa said, please take me also. So at that time, he went as attendant to Lama Valatsenta. And then Lama Valatsenta, as soon as he reached there, he did a retreat for 5 days. And after that, he did a fire puja. And the fire puja, after the fire puja, during the fire puja, I think they kept the women near the fire puja, and then did certain prayer. After that, then she also got up. She was unconscious for more than 7 days, but she got up after the fire puja. So, these fire pujas and all of that, when we hear of these miraculous things like, For example, if the wish fulfilling, to subdue, fire puja can have also many purposes. It can have a peaceful fire puja, wrathful fire puja. For example, peaceful fire puja is when you want to pacify the sicknesses, prosperity in the family. Wrathful puja is when there is a negative beings and they never go, no matter how kindly you advise to them. Then you can do a wrathful Buddha puja and kind of physically with the force chase the negative being away. There are things. But in order to do this, you just can't go and do a fire puja. That's why, for example, those who do the Tara retreat, once you receive the Tara initiation and the teaching, you have to do the recitation until according to the 3 levels. The first level is you do the Tara recitation with the visualized dedication until you see the Tara in a rail. If not, at least in the dream you see 𝐶𝐻𝑖𝑠𝑚, then you are completed. If not, at least by the count, 1.2 million the count. If you can't do that, at least by time based, if you have done other retreat, then maybe you can do a short Tara retreat for 1 week. And after you've done that, then you have become close with the Tara, right? For example, first I get to know somebody, I have to say hi, hello, how are you? Then I take them for a lunch or dinner. Then after some time you are so close that you can just call and say, please come and help me move my sofa, and he will come, right? So the deity practices are like that. First you have to getting close to the deity, get to know and become inseparable from your source. After that, once you have done that, then whether you do consecration, whether you do fire puja, protect others, to bless others, everything is effective. But the deity, firstly to keep the samaya, then to do the deity practices, these are very important, right? That is why we always look for someone who has done practice. So anyway, he was able to guru and revive the master. And they also, when the masters, when they do recitation, also when they do retreat, they always do silent retreat. Because when you do silent retreat, only words you are speaking is a mantra with the awareness and the focus. There is no time to lie, no time to gossip, fight. So your speech also gains a power. You have a speech also as a blessing. So that's why what you bless others. That also has a power because of how we do our practices. So when we mix ordinary words together with the chanting, we are saying Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hung, then talking to somebody, definitely there is no concentration in there. And even the power also, that's the reason why we don't get so much of power. People in the past, whatever they did, if they do 𝐶𝐻𝑖𝑠𝑚 practice, they will do it 𝐶𝐻𝑖𝑠𝑚 until they see the 𝐶𝐻𝑖𝑠𝑚, until they gain certain abilities and certain blessings. So anyway, he did like that, and then she got up, and then she was very respectful to the Guru Valachandra. And in the Indian tradition, that time when they want to show respect to a guru or a guest, they usually wash the feet of their guest and the master. So she used to wash the feet, and then the whatever that water from the dirty water, so-called dirty, she was taking as a blessing. And then again another person came and said that there was a snake who had given a birth, and then the one child, and one of the snake's baby was killed by one person, and then the snake was the kind of around twisting around that person, and then he's about to die. Then again the Lama Valachandra went there, and then he uttered the word Karakata Atse, and as soon as he said that, kind of black raven came, and Pani and then I think the Wani Atse, when he said that, the black raven came with the water, and then he meditated for a long time, and then he put the water on that person, and then I think that the person was released by the snake, and then he also said, please don't kill the snake, let him go let him reach him to a safe place for him. And in that place there is also a Nagas reciting there, so either you should not do any farm work, or if you want to do farm work, then you should ask the Naga to move to another place. That's why in the Himalayan region also, for example in the Kabisa monastery also, before, when you were expanding the temple, in the front there was a one stone, and there was a nagas living there, and sometimes the monks can see the snake also coming there. So then we had to move that place. So we requested Gyaltsen Tukur Rinpoche to come, and then we built another Naga palace, and then requested the Naga to move there, and then we expanded the temple. So he did like that. So anyway, so similarly like that. So anyway, Rechungpa saw that his Guru Walacenta had so many kind of abilities to help other people. But from him, he thought that now I have received, anyway, I have recovered from my leprosy. That is enough for me. But rather, I will want to receive some more teaching related to the Chana Dorje, Vajrapani. So then he received different types of Vajrapani, Kyung Gishambuchen, Nangdupiche, Kyung Shamchen, then the Kyung with the 1 Garuda, 3 Garuda, 5 Garuda, 21, 25, all of these different practices he received from the Wala Center that he had not received before. And then and then other related to initiation of Chana Dorje, and then so many different teachings he gave. And then Lama Wala Center said that in the future you will have a disciple whose name begins with the Lo. So and to him then you should first hide your teaching in the place called Khandre Tungwa, 𝐶𝐤𝐴𝐻𝐻. You should hide your teaching. And then to your student whose name starts with the Lo, to him you should give him the key to how to open the treasure. Then he will take it out at the right time and then benefit sentient beings. And then the Lama Wala Center told him that as a song that now you who have the karma and who have the karma to be my student and receive this teaching, now you yourself are a manifestation of the Chana Dorje Vajrapani. And now if you want to listen to this old man in the Himalayan region, in the place that is protected by Buddha Shakyamuni, there's a River Shanti, the mountain called River Shanti. There is a holy place of Dakini. If you go there and do your activity in the future, then your activities will flourish from there. So in the past, the masters used to not only predict about where they should practice, Nowadays it's quite different. Nowadays people, when they want to practice, they always decide themselves where they want to practice, where they are comfortable. Some they say, I want to do in the Bali. Some, in some comfortable places. So in the olden days, when you are going for a retreat, there is only 2 ways to determine the place. Either the Dakini comes and gives you a prediction, or your guru tells you to please go to this and that according to your level. If you're a beginner, then guru will tell you, please go to a place where you have a few good friends, no disturbance, nothing that will irritate you or disrupt your mind. But at the same time, you have enough to sustain yourself. Is a place where you feel calm and blessed. And if you're a high level practitioner, then Guru will say, please go to deep mountain alone, go to cemetery and go to these places to practice. So according to your level, Guru will tell you to do retreat, and from where your activity will flourish. Because Guru will also check that where your activity will flourish will depend on with what kind of a sentient being you have a karmic connection with. For example, they say that the first Gyalwa Dokhampa, I think it's Gyalwa Dokhampa, yes, first Gyalwa Dokhampa, he had 9, the amazing disciples. Then to one of his disciples, he said that please go to a country where there is where the race is different, where the language is different. You should go, and then you will have so much of flourishing of your activities. But then when he didn't, I think he was that one of his students. He just went maybe a week or 2, and he reached a small other place where people were talking little differently. Then he just settled there and built, and his activity didn't flourish. Actually, his guru meant was he should go to China. That was what guru meant. So in the past, the masters were also very qualified, so they could see, oh, you have a karmic connection with this country, these people, you should go there and benefit these people. So anyway, Anyway, he sung, and then tell Dodin Drobargyur, now I have given you all teachings related to the Vajrapani, now be content. Then the whatever leftover gold that he had also he offered to his guru. Then Tumbu Tangal Hamim Medam Shube Uningshine Binayage Servash. Then Rechungpa, are you sure that there's no more teaching related to Vajrapani? Then the guru took a vow, and saying that I make a vow that I have nothing more. I have given you everything. And then if you look at how the gurus of the past, how they used to treat their gurus, it was because there is a saying that however you treat your guru will be in the future how your students treat you. For example, there's a story of the first Gyalwa Dokhampa 𝐓𝐞𝐚𝐲𝐶. So he said that when he was young, he used to really admire the 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐠, the scholars of the 𝐁𝐢𝐴 𝐁𝐢𝐴. He used to really admire them, even though he was just a kid. And whenever the 𝐁𝐢𝐴 used to kind of walk, he used to follow them, and their kind of their dust that after footprint leaves, he used to pick them up and keep them on his head and say, oh, these must be so learned and they're so great. And he said that in the future, when he became the great master, many of the great scholars became his disciple. And he said that is probably because when I was younger, I respected the learned scholars so much. That is why I have a lot of learned scholars as my student. And then I think in our personal life also, I feel that anyway. So he did like that, and then the Lame Sune. Then one day after that, his guru said, anyway, you seem like a yogi anyway. Even before you came to me, you seem like you have received the Vajrayana teachings, and you look like a yogi. Whose disciple are you? Lama Valatsendra asked him. So it shows that until that time, Valatsendra, Rechungpa has been with Valatsendra for 2 times. He came from Tibet, asked, but he never asked, who's your guru, what practice you are doing. Because in the Vajrayana, generally who's your guru, what's your practice is kept very secret, is not usually revealed. Then he said that I'm from the lineage of the Naropa. So Naropa gave teaching to my guru, Milarepa, Marpa to Milarepa, and Milarepa is my disciple, my guru. Then he said, oh, I see. Valatsendra said, I think that you are someone who really keeps the pure samaya with your guru, and you are someone who is worthy of receiving the teaching. I think you are a qualified student. Here also there is a disciple of Naropa. I think you should go and see, because you all come from the same lineage of Naropa. Then Rechungpa said, I have nothing to offer. So now you might think that why do I have to offer? But it is because everything arises due to cause and condition. So when you first go to see a guru, you go as empty, even if you have nothing to offer, flower or something. When you go with the empty-handed, then it also creates a condition for you to be very poor in your, when you are doing practices, etc. So you always never go empty-handed. If nothing is just a fruit or a flower. So he said that I have nothing to offer. Then the Lama Valatsendra's consort, said, don't worry, I'll give you a cloth, a new piece of cloth. So his consort gave the thing, and then he offered that, and he went to meet Lama Tipu, So Lama Tipu, he went to see Lama Tipu. Then the Lama Tipu, when he met the Lama Tipu, he felt like Tipu Sangadong. He felt like, even though you've never met him before, but when he felt like almost like a father and son meeting. And Lama Tipu also felt so much affection to Rechungpa. And then he, through the translation, they asked. He asked, Rechungpa asked, who is Lama Tipu Sangadongpo? who is, and then he said is, and there is a very interesting story about the Lama Tipu Sangha Dongpo. In a way, it's related to Bhutan also. So what happened was when Marpa Lotsa went to India for third time, so on the third time, Rechung, he couldn't find the Naropa, because that time Naropa had left the title of the Nalanda University's head and went into forest. So after searching for many days, he saw Naropa, and then Naropa manifested into the 𝐻𝐢𝐴𝐺𝐻. So Naropa was here, and then he manifested one Buddha called 𝐻𝐢𝐴𝐺𝐻. That is one of the deity idams that we have of the Drupal lineage. And then that was also the main deity of the Marpa Lotsa. So Naropa asked Marpa Lotsa, do you want to prostrate to me, your guru, or do you want to prostrate to the deity? So then the Marpa Lotsa prostrated to the deity, the 3 times, and then he prostrated to the guru. So then Naropa said, that Lama Sangye Lama Cha, from the guru comes the Buddha, from guru comes the Dharma, from guru comes the deity, that from guru comes your knowledge of the deity, everything. So that's why, for example, in the Bhutanese tradition, they always first prostrate to the Lama and then they prostrate to the shrine, because without through the guru you understand the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Dak, everything. So then the guru, Naropa, kind of advised, how you should do like that. So then the Marpa Lotsa said, yes, it is very true. Actually, I know this in my heart, but today I don't know what happened to me. I somehow, without that thought didn't come to my mind, and I immediately prostrated to the deity first. Then Naropa said, don't worry, it is not your fault. It is the karma of the future people of the Himalayan region. It means that in the future your lineage is going to continue and benefit a lot of people, but your bloodline is not going to benefit a lot of people. So for example, you never hear of Marpa Lotsa Tungzhu. There are some master, like for example the great Chabje Tunjum Rinpoche, whose bloodlines are continue to benefiting the sentient being, because their bloodline, they have the Lungten prediction for their bloodline to benefit the sentient being. But Naropa said, for you, your bloodline is not going to benefit the sentient being. Your bloodline is going to, not going to benefit sentient being. So then, after that, when Marpa Lotsa went back to Tibet, he remembered the Naropa's, what Naropa said, that my bloodline is not going to benefit. Then Marpa Lotsa had a son called Dharma Dode. He had many sons, but his eldest son was called Dharma Dode, who was a very learned, very learned and a good practitioner. And then Marpa Lotsa saw that his son is not going to live very long, going to have a big obstacle. So Marpa Lotsa said, you must retreat for 3 years. You cannot come out. But then, because of the negative beings and obstacle, there was some beggars going around saying there's a big celebration and a festival in the town. There's going to be a horse racing competition. So then the Dharma Dode, before his retreat finished, he wanted to go. His father didn't allow him. So then when his father was busy, he asked his mother, he begged his mother, and mother being mother, she said, okay, I will let you go, but you must make a promise. You will never ride horse. You will come back before it's dark. But then, he promised everything, and Milarepa was one of his attendants. But then when he went down there, then everybody said, oh, you are the son of the Marpa Lotsa. How can you not participate in the horse racing competition? You must compete. And then I think that when he was doing a horse racing, I think there was some sort of black raven that kind of scared the horse. He fell off from horse, and his skull was all cracked, and then the brains were coming out. So Milarepa and all, they tied around his head, and then Dharma Dode was slowly brought back to Marpa Lotsa, and the Marpa Lotsa had a feeling there's something wrong with his son. Then he went there, he saw that. Then Marpa Lotsa, with a lot of the sadness, gave instruction to his son about how to control your mind, how to recognize nature of your mind. And there is And he told, Marpa Losar told that, so when we talk of the 6 yogas of Naropa, actually there was actually a 7th yoga, but 7th yoga is called Pho Tongju. So that yoga was that yoga that was taught was that, for example, you are about to die. If you can find a dead body that does not have any physical harm, there's no wound, you can put your consciousness in the new body and live another full life. So that yoga that yoga didn't flourish in Tibet because from Dhammadod it died. So Marpa Losar told, now why don't you go and look for the nice thing. So then he went around, but because the Himalayan region didn't have the karma to have him as a reincarnation, so no matter if he looked around, he couldn't find a recently died fresh, the dead body. Only thing he could find was a pigeon. And then Marpa Losar said, okay, now you go back, now go to India. I think your karma is in India, you should go. And then it is said that first time he went, he got lost, and he got lost in Bhutan. So in Bhutan, in the Bumthang, there's one temple, and there's one Tuku also, Dhammadod Tuku. They say he is supposed to be where that pigeon spent one night, and then from that on was the reincarnation was coming from there. So anyway, then the second day he was able to go to India, and then in India the pigeon, when they reached the cremation ground, one of the Brahmins are the priest, caste priest of the priest, they had lost priest family had lost a son who was 13 years old, and they had went to drop his body to the cremation ground. I think it was in the Bodh Gaya, 𝐁𝐢𝐨𝐫𝐚𝐻𝐻. And then they were all sitting together and then crying. And that time one pigeon came, and the pigeon nodded 3 times, and suddenly the pigeon died, and then his son got up. And then all the people who went to the cremation ground got scared, because now there is a ghost that is getting up. And then they were all like running away. And then because Tipu Sangha, he knew a little bit of Indian language because of Marpa Losar, so he said that, no, I am not a Ralang, I am not a ghost, I have come awake, now let's go to home. And then they were very happy to take him home, but then they found out that even though he's alive, they understood that now his nature has changed. He was more kind, he was more into the Dhamma, he was more respectful to his parents, he was kind to the people who are going through suffering, and always devoted to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Then the parents got suspicious and said, what is the truth? I don't think you are my son. Then the son told him that actually I am the son of the Marpa Losar. Then I passed away, and then I did the Pho Tongju to come here. So then that is why it is said that in India at that time the pigeons were called Tipu. So that's why he got the name Tipu Sangha, Tipuba. And then anyway, his parents were very very loving to him and graced him. And then when he grew up, then around age 15 he went to Naropa, who was also the guru of his father. And then they received the teaching from Naropa, and then from Naropa he said that you are my son's son. And then the Miya and gave him many teachings, and because he was known as Tipu Sangha Dongpo from there. And then he received teaching from Naropa and Ngada Metipa. And then in 3 years, when he was 18 years old, then his guru Naropa said that now you are ready to give teaching to your disciples, you have the quality. So then Tipu Sangha Dongpo went and then Tipu Sangha Dongpo went and started giving teaching. And then he had 2 consorts. And then he did a 3-year retreat, 3-year retreat, and within 3 years he realized the Mahamudra. and he was able to do, the he and two consorts. They were able to transform into the swan and fly, or go to Guru Padma Sambhava. They were able to all sorts of abilities were obtained by them. And then they so anyway, these are the story of a story of the Lama Tipupa that was narrated to Rechungpa. And then then he received some teachings from Lama Tipu Dongpo, Lama Tipu Sangha Dongpo, and then he went back to his guru, Lama Valasendra. The Lama Valasendra said, "Did you receive the teachings?" So this actually happened to his father, Marpa Lotsa also. So when Marpa Lotsa was Tipu Sangha Dongpo's father, Marpa Lotsa also, when he went to receive teaching from Naropa, Naropa will send him to receive teaching from different qualified masters. And then when they come back, Naropa himself will give the same teaching. So then the Marpa Lotsa asked, why is it that when you yourself can give all the teaching, why you didn't, why you asked me to go and meet all these teachers? Because Naropa said, that if you will receive the blessing of this great teacher, and also in the future you will not have a doubt. So in the past, the great teachers will also know that my student at this time can go and receive teaching from this great master, that great master, and my students are also able to keep the samaya. Nowadays, so nowadays some people ask, is it okay to have a many guru or one guru? So it depends on the student, not really on the guru. Because it is okay to receive teaching from many gurus, but important is you have to keep the samaya very clean. If once you receive an initiation and receive profound teachings, just the normal teachings, okay, but the initiation and the practice, then if you cannot keep the samaya, then it becomes a lot of obstacle to your practice in life to come. So it depends on the student, not the teacher. Yeah? Right? Whether you have to have a guru, how many gurus you have or not. Once you have a guru, even if you cannot, at least you should never have a negative interaction with your guru, otherwise nothing good will ever happen in this life or lives to come. So that is why to check the guru, to make sure that you are able to keep the samaya, and whatever teachings you receive, it shouldn't be just collected, but you have to keep practicing it. So anyway, the Lama Valasandra sent him to Tilopa, and then Tipu Sangha Dongpo, and then he came back. And then then he said, now I want to, Rechungpa said he want to go back to Tibet. Then Valasandra said, yes, you can go, and I will make sure that you are protected. And I think your guru, Milarepa, will soon send me. I can see that Milarepa will again send you back to India. That time you will receive a lot of teachings. And so Lama Valasandra gave a prediction that Rechungpa will come to India one more time. So Rechungpa in his lifetime went to India 3 times. Then he received there's a practice in the olden days, because there was no aeroplane and all of that. If you recite certain mantra and bless it with a certain the objects, and there's a certain thing, and then you can paper, or you can bless your feet. So then what takes months you can go in one day. So there are certain practices to do that. These are not great realization. These things are called the tumongingudub. You can, it's not that difficult to accomplish. So Rechungpa, within 1 month he accomplished that, and he was able to go to Tibet much faster. And then because of that, from Tibet to India to Tibet, it took him only 7 days, because he was able to get the ngudub of the Kagyu. Then Lama Yavimla, he had ability to do. Then he did the circumambulation and prostration to his 2 guru and the consort, and then he did Shabchi or Lang Bimalam Tap, and then he went to Tibet. And then on the way he went to see the holy places of India and Nepal. And then he went to receive a teaching of the Nyingma tradition from Guru Lama Warik. he received the Dzogchen teaching. No. Then he went to, after he reached the, then he went back to Milarepa, and Milarepa gave him some teachings, and he started his practice. And then after that, when the Rechungpa and Milarepa, they were practicing together, so Milarepa got a prediction from the Dakini that you should go to Mount Kailash. So in the olden days, there was a dispute about Mount Kailash. Who owns the Mount Kailash? So there was a dispute between the shamanists. So shamanists in our Himalayan language is called Pembo. So they do animal sacrifices, they pray to the earth deities, etc. So they are also said to be a lot of magical abilities. And then of course from the Buddhist point of view, we say that Mount Kailash is the abode of the Chakrasamvara, Teshokhorlo. So then there was, at that time, it was not very confirmed whose holy place it should really belong to. Because from the Brahmo side, they think it is the place of the Shiva, the Mahadev. So from the Buddhist point of view, is the Chakrasamvara. So then the non-Buddhists wanted to claim it as their own ownership, and the Milarepa said, no, this is the holy place of Chakrasamvara. So then they made a bet, saying that tomorrow early morning, when the sun rises, we will see who can reach the top of the Mount Kailash before the sun rises. That is the winner of the competition and will be the owner of the holy place, this holy place. So it is said that this shamanistic person, he also had some magical ability. So he was riding on a drum, so he was beating the drum, dong, 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 dong. And he was climbing up, and then Rechungpa saw that he was about to reach the peak of the mountain, and Rechungpa was saying, please, do something. And Milarepa was busy sleeping and snoring maybe, And Rechungpa said, please get up, get up, So Milarepa was busy sleeping, and then when he was up, when the sun had just risen, when sun hit the peak of the Mount Kailash, Milarepa got up and said, what happened? Then that shamanists were about to reach the top. Then Milarepa just looked at him, from there's a certain yogic practice of looking at something, to conquer, to do. There's a look, it's called tatang, there's a way of looking. So when he looked he fell down from the top of the mountain to the bottom, And then on the rays of the sun, Milarepa went with the speed of the light and reached the top, And then henceforth, from that onwards, the Mount Kailash was known as holy place of Chakrasamvara. But then Milarepa, being a compassionist, said, I understand that from your religion, you consider it a holy place. So near the Mount Kailash, another peak was given to the shamanists, saying that you all can look at that and pray to your God. It's okay, we'll give you. So then that time, the Milarepa and the Rechungpa, they went together, and that happened. And many people around the Mount Kailash got liberated, and then yeah, and then the Rechung, and then anyway, then the Rechungpa. Then the Guru Rechung Milarepa told, now you have been with me for few years now, you have been practicing. Now tell me, what kind of realization you have. And then when he gave the realization, then Milarepa pointed out Milarepa told him, yes, your realization is pretty good, but yours is more of a experiential realization, is not the real realization. So if you want the real realization, it has to be like that. And Milarepa gave a song. These songs are in a book called 100,000 Songs of Milarepa. So he gave the pointers to his disciple. And then Rechungpa also, slowly his realization grow. And then the Milarepa also was very pleased and said that now you are truly a qualified guru. If you want to please the guru, Milarepa told Rechungpa, there are 3 ways to please the guru. First, you have to please the guru with your devotion and your wisdom. After that, second stage is that whatever you have received from your teacher, you have to contemplate, you have to practice in a correct way. And then Gombe. Then in the future, when you practice and gain realization, that's the time you will please the guru. So these are 3 ways of pleasing the guru. First with the devotion and wisdom, second is with the effort, and third is when you become realized. That is the time, that is the real pleasing to guru. If just talking with the words and discussion and no practicing, there is no point. Whatever understanding you get, whatever realization you get, it is not to talk with other people or tell other people, but you have to look within yourself and see how it applies to you and how much improvement you have made. And for me also, my Lama Mapaloza, told me that even though you are not very learned in the sutras and tantras and many, the knowledge and philosophical you don't know, it doesn't matter, because to all of these, the too much into the getting lost in the words and the debate, these are not very important, how much you know, but rather whatever you know, you have to apply it to within yourself, look within yourself, and whatever your guru says, do it according to your guru's instruction and practice. These are my heart advice I received from my Guru Marpalosa, and that is why, and because I'm very tired of this samsaric existence, because Milarepa said, when he was young, he was born from a very wealthy family. Then when his father died, his uncle, took away all the property. Then at the mother's insistence, he did a black magic and killed all of them. And then he was at the end of that didn't solve anything. Rather, it made his mother the most hated person. Then he had to go to Marpalosa. He did so much of hard work. Then he had to come back. When he came back, he saw that his mother had passed away and it was just skeleton. Nobody even did the funeral rites for his mother because they were so scared of the black magic. And then, when Milarepa looked back to his life, all the things he had experienced, all the people he had killed, the difficulty he went through. At the end of the day, when my mother had just become a skeleton, and all this hatred, all this revenge, at the end, what did it matter? When you have to go away from this life and leave everything behind, what does it matter? So Milarepa said that I have no kind of attachment to the samsara. And because of this, because of the listening to my guru's advice and my sense of renunciation is the reason why I have realized and within this enlightenment, within this lifetime, and all the qualities I have are because of that. And then this is also. And then Milarepa gave one, I think maybe the summary of the song. He said that in the beginning, a devotion that is unchangeable is the root of the practice, and then from your heart the genuinely wish to practice, and that is the time you have to accumulate lots of merit through prostration, through the 4 practices, the practices of the Ngondro and the 4 sessions a day. And then after that, then you have to do the visualization practices of the Chakra Samvara, Vajra Yogini, Tara, whatever, all the visualization, that is the visualization. And then together with the visualization, you have to also, recognize the nature of the mind. And once you have the recognized nature of the mind, that is indivisible from compassion and emptiness. And then this time the Zohrim, the the completion practices is what you have to do. And then as a Vajrayana practitioner, on the 10th day or the Sechutam is the day the male energy within us arises. So that is the time we have to do Gana Chakra offering to a male Buddha. During the 25th day, Dakini day, the female energy within us rises. That is the time as a Vajrayana practitioner you have to do offering to the Dakinis. And for a Vajrayana practitioner, it is said that we should never forget to do Gana Chakra during these 2 days, the Sechutam and the Tse right? Because this is important because Vajrayana, firstly, is important because of the male ascens and the female ascens rising. Second is important because Vajra, every time you do a Sokor, it's also you are doing a purification and repairing all the broken samayas, broken tamsis. So if you have any broken in the samaya with the guru, with your practice, with each other, with Dhamma brother and sister, every time you do a Sokor, your samaya gets repaired. So that is so if you are from the monastic point of view, I think on every month they also do a practice where they renew the Pratimoksha vows. So from the Vajrayana point of view, the Gana Chakra on the 10th and the 25th day are the opportunity to revive their Vajra, purify and revive their Vajrayana vows. And then so he gave some, the songs is about experiences. For example, he said that I stay in the retreat in a place where there's nobody. Even if there's obstacle, for me, I don't consider obstacle as an obstacle, but obstacle is also nothing but an opportunity for me. So anyway, he said like that. And then in essence of his advice was Rechungpa, don't be proud, don't have so much of, thinking that you are the greatest and I am the greatest. I have so much of realization. I have received so much practice and knowledge. Don't have so much of ego, and especially don't tell other people about how great you are. Right? If you from the beginning, if you have so much ego about your realization and your knowledge, and then the pride will come, then the many other negative emotion will come, then you will have a very difficulty. But it is true that since you are someone who is protected by the Dakini, you do have a lot of quality, but please do not have so much of self, cherishment and telling others your good qualities. So after receiving this advice from the Milarepa, Rechungpa also, he found it very beneficial for his practice. And so this is one part, that thing. So today we will stop here. So namdi tamche sikpanye kega nache balong chubae sebe dwarsho ja emaho ngozar sangye nawat